Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin. Yeah, as we're heading into the weekend, the markets are quiet again. The market is holding between support here at $27,000 roughly. So it's a bit of a support range, of course. You could say between yesterday's swing lows here around 27,200 and $27,000. That's where we find support, and then up here is our Fibonacci resistance area, which is very, very meaningful. Between, you could say, $28,050 and $28,300. The market reacted to it a few times in the last few days, and this is sort of the area in which the bears and the bulls are really fighting. Okay, you will remember, and I explained it in yesterday's video again, that a few days ago, or no, when was it? More than a week ago, we did say when, or should the price break roughly about 27K, we're going to move into a state of uncertainty, you could say. Yeah, we are moving into a situation in which the downward path gets a little less likely, but the upside pathway in the white wave count, yeah, which would allow for at least one more high here. I mean, it can always extend, right? But one more high. Where that is not yet confirmed. So we're in that situation between two wave counts, you could say. One to the downside could play out. The upside one could play out. The bulls and the bears haven't decided yet. And that's exactly that uncertainty that is reflected by the prices. It's the chop, yeah, the so-called whipsaw price action, which Bitcoin increasingly tries to do, especially this year. So in these situations, I think it is even more important to be focused on clear structures and to understand what is needed to confirm a lasting low in place. You know the routine. Yeah, we're always waiting here for 5 waves up and 3 waves down to confirm that, because before that, if I was telling you the low is in, we're going to 30 to 40K, well, 30 is fine, but 40, 50K, some people might just FOMO in and get trapped, okay? Because this might easily break down still. So we have to focus on our typical process, and that process involves watching for impulses or at least diagonal structures to the upside in a 5-wave move to the upside and a 3-wave pullback. So we haven't got that yet. There's at least one more high missing in the white wave 5 to get that structure. Until then, we have to be very skeptical about a breakout really to the upside. However, if we break above resistance, we move to around about 30K, 30, yeah, a bit higher maybe, roughly 30K in this white wave 5 before we should then see a setback in an ABC pullback. And for me, the yellow wave count is still sort of preferred, but obviously we've got them both on the chart, and it is literally the pivot point that is deciding. Okay, so it's the 78.6 retracement there, the resistance level, which divides the two. Okay, which is the very, very clear pivot point, decision point here. And while I still prefer more downside, just because the upside structure is just not clear, I always like to see clarity. Okay, so if we see clarity, that's fine. 5 waves up, 3 waves down. We've got a clear structure, a clear setup for higher. Until then, this can easily break down. It's a very fragile structure. You can see how fragile it is by just looking at the price action here. Very fragile. Yeah, the market doesn't really know if it wants to go higher or lower. It basically tries to do all at once. And that is the so-called choppy price action that we see. So if you don't want to be caught in a chop, zoom out, focus on a different time frame maybe, or just wait until we have a little bit more clarity and more stable structures. Certainly the bulls are here, the bears as well, okay, and they are fighting exactly in this region that I indicated to you. Yeah, should we break out above that 27K level, we're going to head into no man's land. Those were my words, and that's where we are. So we just need a bit of patience until this situation gets resolved and until either the bears or the bulls are knocked out. We had the situation the last few days that the bearish setups while they worked that we had, we had 2 bearish setups and short trade setups while they worked, they weren't followed through. Okay, so we had nice reactions to resistance areas, but we had a lack of follow through. The bulls were too strong or the bears were too weak. That means that there is a lot of indecision, and maybe the bulls will take over. Okay, that's sort of what I'm taking, sort of as insights from this, because ideally we had really good bearish setups, and again they worked in the beginning, but then the bulls stepped in, and that's usually a sign that things might be changing again. So all we can do really is interpret the structure and be very much aware that we have to be prepared for anything in this region. Okay. Now, someone asked, or someone said in the comments, it's too complicated. Well, if it's too complicated for you, I can only say focus on the larger time frame. It's pretty simple. And also, it doesn't need to be complicated. Maybe you make it too complicated. Okay. So it's really, obviously, I want to help you to understand the markets. You can make it very simple. It is so simple, actually. But obviously, a lot of you want to have that additional information as well. But it's very simple. Above the pivot point, above resistance, I'm watching for higher towards the 30K region. Below that level, I'm watching for lower towards 22K. It's so simple. It's basically this level here, $28,300. A sustained break above it will make me look higher towards 30K. Yeah, and besides that, there is not much more to add. I think Bitcoin is hovering in resistance now. Okay, so you can zoom in a little bit. Holding in resistance. I mean, this could have been the wave 2 top here. The thing is, it hasn't really done much to confirm another impulse to the downside. Yesterday's move down was just a corrective one. So we talked about it in yesterday's video that we might get a rebound. We did get the rebound, quite a strong one though, and it did reset circle wave 2. So unless circle wave 3 to the downside happens now, probably not over the weekend, but maybe next week, then we're going to break out to the upside. Okay, so it's, you can see how relevant technical analysis is because the price maxed out completely Fibonacci resistance and just stopped at that critical 78.6 retracement level. So yeah, I think we need a bit of patience. I don't personally expect much action on the weekend. Last weekend was getting a little bit more interesting for the first time in many, many months because typically weekends are very, very boring. But we saw a little bit of action. So we need to be very much, in a situation in which we want to prepare for different scenarios. And I talked about my strategies in previous updates. So yeah, you can, I will do that again from time to time. Until then, yeah, hopefully you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Also make sure you follow us on Instagram and Twitter. The links are in the video description. And if you're interested in the membership, tomorrow we've got our next member live stream. So you can check that out. As a member, you also get access to Discord and Telegram and short-term market updates as gold members. We also launched our stocks and S&P 500 service this week. So if you're interested in daily updates about the S&P and regular updates about 20 stocks and shares, then check out the Patreon link in the video description. And yeah, have a great weekend. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.